I get a lot of questions about sellers wanting to start their own domain outside of Etsy. They want another sales channel to be able to have their own personalized website. And really, it's a little bit more complicated now because there's just so many options out there. And it makes it pretty hard to decide which one is better for them than some of the other options out there. And two of the common options that I find with Etsy sellers is Pattern, which is run by Etsy, and then Shopify, which is another company altogether. I've personally used both and figured it'd be good to break down both of these options and give you some pros and cons of each so you can decide if you're juggling between these two, which one is going to be the best for you and for your business. Let's dive in. All right, guys, what is happening? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. LL here, your humble host and guide through your Etsy and business journey. Hopefully, you guys are doing all right. Glad that you are back with me today. I got another really good episode for you guys that I think you're going to get a lot out of, especially with the questions that I've been getting lately in regard to which website is the best to use if you're looking to add that sales channel to your business, which most people do at some point in their business journey. They don't only sell on Etsy. But before I get started, I have something for you guys. Since we are almost halfway through the year, hopefully you are reaching or racing towards the goals that you set forth at the beginning of the year. Hopefully you have some goals that you set. If you didn't, it's okay. I forgive you. It is fine. But I have something for you that'll help you guys out, whether you have set goals or you want to start setting better goals. It is a goal setting worksheet to help you align your goals with specific action items and give you the actual criteria and be able to break out your goals into action items so that you can hit them. A lot of people just have never, they know that they should have goals. So we just throw spaghetti on the wall, and most people don't reach their goals because it doesn't make any sense. We haven't put a lot of structure into how they are set up and then breaking them down even more so into bite-sized chunks so that we can actually meet and exceed our goals, which is what we all want. So this worksheet will help you guys do that. You guys can get that at handmadeandbeyond.com/goals. I know a lot of people have gotten a lot out of this, so it'll break it down into simple, easy steps to follow so that you can hopefully set more goals that you can exceed, and it'll help you through the rest of the year so we can finish this year strong. Can't believe we're almost halfway through the year. That is crazy, and I am just saying that I'm overwhelmed, just like maybe many of you guys, with thinking about all the stuff that I still want to do through this remaining part of this year. Anyways, moving on, I am here to talk about Pattern versus Shopify. This is going to be a Pattern versus Shopify throwdown episode. So if these are two of the platforms that you're thinking about starting your own domain, starting your own website on, I want to give you the things that I think are most relevant to these two options because I've personally used both of them. I'm not speaking, on something that I haven't done or had experience with. I currently have a Shopify website still, but I did use Pattern for several years. And in some ways, I'm thinking about going back to Pattern. And you'll see why once I break out these different pros and cons of each. So the first one I'm going to start off with is Pattern. Now, if you're not familiar with Pattern, this is just an extension of Etsy. Etsy offers Pattern as a way for you to set up your own domain, set up your own website, but it's still run through the Etsy platform. Your customers will never know that. It's basically on the back end through in your shop dashboard. You can access your Pattern stuff. You can access all your listings through Pattern, all that stuff, but it's in the same place as you access your Etsy stuff. And then on the front end for your customers, they're going to whatever your domain name is that you set up, and it's going to look just like a website. They're not going to know that it's through Etsy. So it's the same thing as setting up a website through somewhere else. It's just managed by Etsy. So let's go through the pros first, and then we'll dive into some of the cons. So the first pro is it's very easy to set up and use. Since it's already integrated with Etsy, again, you go to one place to manage everything. And you can toggle stuff on and off, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But it's very easy to set up with a few clicks, pick your design, and you open you set up your domain, and you're ready to go. You're ready to pick which listings you want to put in your store. So it's very, very easy to use. You can literally set up a pattern website in a couple of minutes. So that's what's nice about people that aren't really tech savvy, and want something that's very easy to start. The other pro is you do get a discount. It's only a couple of bucks, but you get a discount if you buy your domain through the pattern interface or through the pattern dashboard. You could pick and buy your domain through there. And it also makes it easy to use, because if you're buying it through there, you don't have to figure out how to pull it into pattern and sync it, like if you're buying it through like GoDaddy or Hoover or one of those ones. So that's something to consider too. You may, if you don't have it already, you may just want to buy it through the pattern dashboard. The other thing is it's very inexpensive. So to set up a pattern website, it is $15 a month, at least as of this recording. So that's a pretty inexpensive option for you to be able to have your own website. Now, keep in mind that doesn't include the domain cost. Usually the domain runs, depending on which ones you want, anywhere from like $8 to $15 a year. So it's still inexpensive. Granted, if you want a domain that's already taken and you want to try and negotiate to buy it from someone, especially if it's a big time domain, that could run into the thousands, but most people will not do that, obviously. And you just move on to maybe your second or your third option of your company name, or a variation of your company name, so you can get a cheap domain that's not going to break the bank. The other thing, like I said, the other pro is everything is run through the Etsy dashboard. So this means that all your stuff is there from your Etsy store, and you can toggle listings on and off in pattern. If you don't want to offer all the stuff that you offer in your Etsy, you can toggle them on or toggle them off and not offer all the same things. If you want everything to be the same, then you just toggle them all on, and they'll both be in pattern, and they'll be in your Etsy shop as well. So that's really nice to be able to do that and not have to duplicate another listing somewhere else. So it saves a lot of time. The other thing too, since it's integrated, the other pro is you can print out all your labels from one place. So if you sell a couple items through Pattern, you sell a couple items through Etsy, it doesn't matter. It's all going to the same place. You can select them all and print all your labels out from the same place inside the Etsy shop manager. The other thing is that's pretty cool too, is if you want to offer some items in your pattern store that Etsy doesn't allow, maybe some stuff that's not handmade, or some stuff that's not vintage, you can do that because Pattern is your own website. So you can create listings and only sell them through Pattern and not sell them through Etsy. Just make sure that you're careful and not toggling on to go inside your Etsy shop. But that is perfectly allowed because it's your own website. You don't have to abide by those specific handmade policies and all that stuff. Granted, you can't sell anything like there's still probably prohibited items just in general that you just don't want to sell online, but I'm sure you're not going to do that. But just if you're being straightforward, there's certain things that just Etsy doesn't allow, such as like mass-produced items or stuff that's not older than 20 years old for vintage. If you want to sell some of that stuff in your new pattern site, you can absolutely do that. The other pros are you can connect MailChimp on the back end for people to sign up for your mail list. Pretty easy. And that is at the bottom of your pattern site where people can sign in or sign up. You won't get a whole lot of people doing it that way, but that is an option for you. There's other better ways, which I've talked about in previous episodes, to get people to sign up for your email list. And then the other thing is it has a blog feature. So if you want to start a blog, you can definitely do that and post it directly through your pattern site and then share it out to social media. If you want to do that, it's pretty easy to set up. All right, so let's get into the cons. So probably the biggest con is the available options and features. So since it's tailored to people that aren't as tech savvy and want simplicity, you're going to lose a lot of features and availability of design elements. So like as far as design elements, I'm talking about different basically skins or designs for how your website's going to look and feel, like different, being able to add video, being able to add multiple picture sections. You're just going to not have much of that control. There are some different design options to choose from in Pattern, and I'm sure they're probably working on adding more, but they're just not a lot. and they are kind of basic. So that was the main reason that I wanted to do Shopify over Pattern, because I wanted more functionality, more design elements. But if you want simplicity, if you want easy to use, and you don't care as much about that, then Pattern's a great way to go. Uh, the other con is something I just alluded to, was the integration features. So, for example, if you want like something that has like pop-ups for like get a coupon code or get a discount, or like sign up pop-ups, stuff like that, different integration options, you're just not going to be able to get that with Pattern. It is very limited as far as different being able to integrate different features and have it be kind of flashy. So if you're fine with not adding any of that stuff, which it does complicate things if you start to add that stuff, but some people want that functionality built into their website. So there's not those. That's probably the biggest cons. Really, it just comes down to the design and feature options and integration options. That really is kind of, makes Pattern not as great as some of the other websites that are out there, but it also makes it a lot easier and simple to use too. So if you don't care as much about that, then that may be a good resource for you. So let's dive in now to Shopify. And this is, like I said, probably the most common places people are building websites now, just because there's a plethora of different options. So let's dive into some of the pros. There are absolutely a ton of well, there's not a ton of free website design skins, basically how your website's going to look and feel. There's a good chunk of free ones, but then there is a literal ton of paid ones to choose from. So you can pretty much get your website to look and feel exactly how you want it with all those different options. And it's basically not plug and play, click and play, maybe. So you find a design you like, you literally click on it, and boom, it'll pop it into your website design, and then you can move stuff around, change stuff however you like it. And then you can also, there's source code, so you can get real technical and code stuff in there if you want to be able to do that. But being able to see how your design or your website's going to look, and just being able to click on that and have it import it and have it look that way. And then obviously you're going to add in your listings and all that stuff. But that's a really cool thing that they do, and they have a lot of really cool designs, which is pretty nice. Probably one of the biggest perks of going through Shopify. Like I said, I wanted a specific design look, and that's what I got. With Shopify, I did have to pay. I think for my design, I paid $120 or something like that, one-time fee, and I'll go dive into that here in a little bit. There are also a ton of integrations, or what they call apps, that you can use to integrate into your website to get different features, such as pop-ups, different, you can show, like, if someone recently bought something, and it'll have like a little pop-up like, Sally just purchased this 12 hours ago, to kind of entice people to buy as well. So video elements, buy announcements, coupon pop outs, coupon spinners. I mean, there's tons and tons of stuff that you can add to your website if you want to do that. The other pro is, once you have your Shopify set up, you can sell through multiple sales channels from your Shopify dashboard. If you have, if you want to sell through Amazon, eBay, Facebook, Google, I think those are the main ones. Keep in mind, you do have to have those platforms set up through your creating an account and have that set up, but you integrate them with Shopify and then choose to sell on those platforms as well. It'll push them over there to those platforms, which is really nice. So the other pro is, of course, you get shipping discounts. Pretty much it's the same as what you get through Etsy. It looks about the same to me, but you also get a discount through Shopify as well. And then lastly, you can integrate Apple Chat, so you can set that up. And basically, there's a little chat bubble on your website. Someone clicks on that, they can talk to you directly, and it'll push it directly to your phone if you've downloaded the Shopify app. And the app is also another pro. The app is great. You can do everything just like Sell on Etsy app. You can have the Shopify app and do pretty much everything from your phone as well to manage your business. So those are the main pros as far as Shopify goes. And like I said, the features and the design elements is probably the biggest thing with when it comes to Shopify. There's just so many apps and integrations, and you can do whatever you want to do. You can do it through Shopify for sure. Now let's dive into the cons when it comes to Shopify. The biggest con by far is it can get very expensive. So the cheapest plan that you can get is $29 a month, depending on certain aspects of how many different elements you want in your business, products, and all that type of stuff. You can see the breakdown if you go to Shopify. I'm not going to dive into that right now, but the cheapest is $29 a month, which is for the majority of people looking to start a Shopify site. That's probably more than enough. Probably has everything that you need within that $29 a month. The other expense is every single sale, there's a payment processing fee. So, depending on where you're located, depending on your country, it ranges, but it's about 3 to 4% on every single sale. So, you can see that there is an added cost over, doing Pattern, which doesn't have any payment processing fees or anything like that. It's just a straight $15 a month. You don't pay, even when you sell on Etsy, there's processing fees and listing fees. You don't pay any of that on Pattern. So that's pretty good. Also, if you pick, like I said, I picked my own website design. It was an upcharge because it wasn't a free one. So that charged me like $120. It was a one-time fee, which is great. And a lot of those are one-time fees, I think. But if you want to choose a free one, there's plenty of good free ones out there that still look really, really good and still have good features built into them. So just keep that in mind. The last thing is most apps that you can add are not free. They may have a trial, but if you do pick and you want to update your website and get some cool features, some cool apps, there are usually monthly fees associated with them. I think most of those are monthly. It's not a one-time fee. It just depends on what you want to add to your website. You can do anything, but you're going to pay for it as far as Shopify. So it's kind of a la carte. You can do it pretty inexpensively, but when you start adding, different website designs that are paid, different apps that are paid, it can start to get expensive real quick. The other con is it's not as easy to set up as Pattern. I mean, they do make it relatively easy where you pick your website design and then you can pretty much plug and play how you want it to look and feel and change stuff around. But still, it's definitely not as easy as Pattern because you have a lot more control over what you can do. And it can get, that part can get a little bit more confusing. Like anything, you can master it. The more you do it, the easier it's going to get. But it's when you're looking at both side by side, Pattern is way easier to get started a lot faster. The other con is if you're running an Etsy store and you're running a Shopify store, you have to, since it's a separate platform, you have to create all those listings again in Shopify. So if you have 1,000 listings, you got your work cut out for you. You got to sit down and do every single listing in Shopify. Now, there are some resources. There are some companies that can integrate them over. I forget the name of the one that I used before, but it wasn't seamless. Certain listings didn't come over correctly, and I had to go in and tweak a lot of them anyways. So that may have gotten better since I tried that a few years ago. There may be a company that can kind of basically just bulk transfer all your listings over into Shopify. I'm sure there's definitely a way to do that, so you're not having to do them individually. So that may be something that you want to look into, but you're still going to have to double check to make sure that they came over correctly. And if you're bulk transferring, they definitely charge you for that. There's no way to do it free, at least as of the last time that I checked into it. So keep that in mind. It's definitely a little bit more time consuming because you're going to recreate everything. And along the same lines, time consuming, you got to print out your shipping labels from Shopify since it's a different platform, obviously. However, if you use companies such as like Pirate Ship, you can sync with Shopify and sync with Etsy. And even if you want to sync with eBay, if you're an eBay store, you can sync all those together and then print out all your labels from Pirate Ship. So that'll save you time too, and you get a discount if you're using Pirate Ship. You don't have to use Shopify printing. You don't have to use Etsy printing. So a lot of people are doing that sell on a lot of different sales channels. So that may be something that you want to check into as well, just to save you time so you can print everything out from the same place. So that is pretty much it. Those are the pros and cons of both Pattern and Shopify. As far as my perspective, I'm sure I didn't cover everything. It's not a end all be all list. There may be a few other ones that you find, but those are the main ones. Those were my main concerns when, and basically in my experience with using both of these platforms. And to me, it really came down to pricing, design and features, and time. So it's all about what you want to give up or take advantage of. Both are really good options. Don't get me wrong. I've used both. I like both. So it's just a matter of which one's a better fit for you. Which one do you want to maybe save some more time on? Which one do you want a little bit more control, ease of use, all that stuff. So that should at least give you a little bit of direction when it comes down to making a decision, depending on where you're at in your business journey. Um, both could be a really, really viable option for you guys. So that's it. Hopefully it helps you guys out. Don't forget to download that goal setting worksheet that I talked about earlier. You guys can get that at handmadeandbeyond.com/goals to get your goals rocking and rolling. But that is all for today. I'll be back really soon with another really good episode for you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day.